Well, I must say, I am kind of shocked it was that much.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy. Chelsea have broken records with agents' fees. Would you Adam and Eve it? Not me. I knew we spent a lot of money on players, and I guess with that comes agents' fees. But I didn't think it was anywhere near this much. Look, I know the deal. Certain transfers look good, but they actually cost a lot of money. The biggest example of this is Erling Haaland to Man City. Everyone's like, oh, look, we got him for 50 or 60 million or whatever. It's a great deal. Yeah, but you look at like the sign-on fees and the extortionate agent fees. They ended up paying, like, reports suggest way over 100 million for Erling Haaland, which, by the way, he's worth it. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying that there's the reality and truth there. Huge agent fees and, of course, huge wages. Again, I'd argue he's worth it. It's just a lot where the money is. Now, I didn't think necessarily... Obviously, we bought a lot of players, so therefore there's a lot of agent fees. But I kind of didn't think it would be this crazy. And now, upon like a sort of sobering reflection, when I've been saying to you guys for so long, like, yeah, the Chelsea project is really good. It's really compelling. The pitch must be so good. And then the agents tell the players to go there. Maybe the agents are telling the players to go there because they get paid an F load of money. So anyway, welcome back to Football Therapy. We're going to go for an article, talk about this huge sum today. But welcome back. Thanks for joining me. If you like the content, let me know. Like, subscribe, comment as always. I do really appreciate your interactions here on the channel. And they do support us humble little content creators a lot, man. So thank you guys, as always. Yeah, dude. So I'm going to read this article from Nizar Kinsella. This was published by the FA, the numbers. I'll put them on the screen in just a moment. Nizar writes this: Chelsea spent a staggering £75.1 million on agents' fees during the 23-24 campaign, which is likely the highest ever paid by a Premier League club in a single season. So, like, the record... Manchester what, Jan? Manchester City shelled out £60.6 million, having topped the charts last year with a £51.5 million outlay. Now, this doesn't surprise me at all, and this is where my mind was. My mind was, well, the agent fees, obviously it would have, like, historically always been Man United, but now sort of like my cynical... to a degree cynical, but often, like, it's also an informed opinion. I thought, right, well, the highest agents fee is going to be Man City. It's going to be the state-backed super behemoth of the Premier League now, Abu Dhabi, paying a lot of agents fees to get players to go to Man City or whatever. There's significantly less than us. So there's my hat. I'll eat it in just a moment. Manchester United, there you go, another one of the high rollers, or the next highest for 34 million. Now, we need to be a little bit like fair here. We are doing an entire squad rebuild. There was so many players. I mean, do you pay agents when you sell a player? Is there a fee there? I wonder if there is, if that could contribute, because we made so many sales. Although this is for like just the last season. It just makes you... that's freedom. So yes, and Liverpool 31 and Arsenal 24.7. I'm actually surprised Arsenal was so low. I know they spent a lot of money, quite a lot, I suppose, on less players. Chelsea spent more on agents in a year than 6 Premier League clubs combined. So there's Brentford, Fulham, Palace, Sheffield, Everton and Luton. Then they spent on transfers. The transfers, our agent fees are more than all those teams spent on transfers. They also spent more than every championship club paid across agents across the whole season. Kind of doesn't surprise me. Look, and we have to keep circling it on home to this element of it's a squad rebuild. Rightly or wrongly, we'll all have our own opinions on that. But there were so many players signed, there will come huge agent fees. And Come to Chelsea have spent a staggering amount, of course, across the two previous transfer windows, including the Premier League record of £115 million from Moises Caicedo. Amid pressure from Liverpool, we know the story. Liverpool came in late. Liverpool had a bid accepted for £111 million for Caicedo, which made us go even higher against our will. And Chelsea similarly outbid Jurgen Klopp's side to sign former youngster Romeo Lavia for £58 million. It's really sort of morbidly sobering reminders of insane amounts of money we've spent on good players, but in these instances, a player that we just didn't see this season could have done with him. It makes you queasy, doesn't it? Of course, Nkunku, Palmer, Disasi, Jackson, Sanchez also all joined as well. Chelsea spent an estimated on £422 million on 14 players last summer, but did not sign any player in the January transfer window. Fine, so 420 million, but how does that get to over £75 million? Let's just quickly look at the graphic before we read on here on Nizar's article. Ding-a-ding, here you go. As you can see, leading the race there is Chelsea. Agent fees, £75 million. That is just crazy. Absolutely chicken oriental, mate. Of course, we had the biggest squad rebuild of the most. Liverpool rebuilt their midfield, and they ended up spending £31.5 million in agent fees. It's a lot. I don't feel so comfortable with this. Again, this kind of like builds onto that, you spent all this money and you're not good, essentially. And that no matter what mitigating circumstances there are, and there are a few, you say it's still not good enough. And then you lay this on top. And there's something so unsavory about greasing agents' palms, and to the tune of £75 million. That is just icky. I'm going to delete that off my OBS now. Well, let's hammer home the facts. Over £1 billion has been spent across the first 4 transfer windows. Of course, we reflected on a Liam Twomey Athletic article on this. And not in the defence of this Chelsea spending, but in the reality in that video a couple of days ago. It explains how very, very little have played 75% of the available minutes or more, showing that this huge amount of investment we haven't actually seen yet. So when you criticise Chelsea, they spent £1 billion and they're mid-table. Yes, true, and it's not good enough, but the fact how it's just always loosely thrown around is often missing some very important context of we've not actually seen that £1 billion consistently or at all play. Huge amounts of that sums like Nkunku and Lavia, and there's others as well, of course. The biggest obviously, thing people beat us with is the midfield. It's the Enzo and Caicedo, probably collectively underperforming, though both talented. Though Enzo's actually not been as bad as some people say he's been. That's kind of like the main target, the easiest target, the expensive midfield. But generally, the money's not been seen yet. We've also sold over £400 million in that time, worth of players in that time. That's incredible. That is incredible business. The one positive thing from the Abramovich era that we've actually carried over is the ability to sell well. I mean, we've always had assets, but to actually continue selling well. I believe when the potential owners, whether it was Bowley, Clearlake, the Ricketts, Pagliuca, and all those people that were trying to buy Chelsea, then they were looking at what Chelsea's good at. They were probably thinking, can we adopt that strong ability that Chelsea have to make so much money off sales? And we all many of us just thought it was just the strong negotiating skills of Marina Granovskaya, the head honcho, main lady at Chelsea. But even if it was a bit of that, maybe it's just part of the one positive piece of our old DNA that we managed to maintain, making a lot of money from selling players. There remains concerns about whether Chelsea would adhere to the Premier League's current profit and sustainability rules before the summer. Of course, June 30th is the soft deadline. There is interesting, I think you'll reference that in a minute, that the rules might change. Of course, we've denied claims that we need to sell £100 million worth of players, but people outside looking at the books and speculating, you've had on Talk Sport loads that financial guy speaking to Simon Jordan pretty much saying, yeah, look, we've looked at the books, they surely need to sell 100 million quid's worth of players. So maybe that is the case, but Chelsea deny that still. Of course, we're open to selling homegrown stars like Conor Gallagher, which will cause a massive divide in the fan base, although there already is a divide in the fan base over Conor Gallagher, especially over online social media. Trevoh Chalobah, who's looking like our most competent centre-back at the moment, which ain't right. No, look, I like Trevoh. I think he's been good and is a good rotational player, but I always thought we could have better starters than him, and for him suddenly to look the most competent after spending 70 million on 2 French centre backs, that's a worrying concern, isn't it? Hopefully you can't hear my washer dryer doing its thing back there. Ian Maatsen, I think we've all pretty much accepted. Yeah, good loan. He'll be sold. Probably. I mean, many of us would think we should have kept him. Maybe another coach would like him, but maybe he's just not. He's just a Bundesliga. He's just a really good Bundesliga fullback. I don't know. Maybe I know he wasn't really given a chance in the Prem, and that's probably unfair. But he is petite, and I don't know. Who knows, right? Armando Broja, huge ceiling, not playing at Fulham. Very, very frustrating one. Chelsea's valuation of 50 million for him is surely plummeted down to at least half. And of course, all these players represent pure profit on the books. But the Premier League clubs have agreed. So the clubs vote, don't they, for rules? And they have agreed to introduce new financial controls. So in time for the 25-26 season. So it's not the next season, it's the following. Yeah. The new squad cost controls will set an 85% limit on how much annual revenue can be spent on costs, including transfer fees, wages, and agent fees. That's really good. I think the Championship clubs on average spend I'm not over 100% on transfers and wages of their total available revenue and finances. Because they all just gamble on getting to the Premier League and the promised land, so they all overspend. So this is good an 85% seems like a more than fair figure to pay for players and wages, because that's not all the club is, and that's only leaving 15% otherwise. So I absolutely sign off on that. If you can't do that, then you're not being run properly as far as I'm concerned. But the PSR rules, which monitor the finances over 3 years, of course, will continue to operate into next season to allow clubs to adapt their business models to comply with new demands. Oh, that's good of them. I mean, it's an absolute sugar show right now with potentially relegating teams after the season's finished because of points deductions, sometimes, not coming before the end of the season, this, that, and the other. It's been a mess. We can all agree it's been a mess. But yeah, Chelsea and their agent fees, I think this is kind of wild, man. I was kind of hoping that's not the stuff we do, pay those just mental amounts of agent fees, but we do. I want to put it out to you guys and hear what you guys think. I guess it is obviously down to doing such a big squad rebuild, more agent fees involved, but it has to be involved with PSR rules, I suppose. I don't know. There's something pretty gross about agents making so much money in football, and a lot of the time you can be an agent by applying for this document. I think you don't need to go and study and do a degree or anything. That's why you get so many footballers that they're Callum Hudson-Odoi did it, didn't he? He just made his brother his agent, and then they can just make millions. I get what you do. You look after your family, and then just when you get transferred, your brother, your father, your mother, your uncle just makes millions of pounds for just sort of hanging out. And if you learn the going rate, well, I can make 2 million just for being here. Why wouldn't you do it? So yeah, I put it out to you guys. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, I'm perking up a little bit, but I've been really sort of exhausted the last few days, kind of run down, doing more desk videos. But thanks always for your support, for liking and subscribing, etc. And I hope to see you back here very soon. Peace.